The only thing that we're interested in is putting money in your wallet. If you want to bet the fights, if you want to have a little bit of action, you are in the right place. With my partner, Ian Parker, I am Brett Okamoto.
We're ready to rock between our parlays, our props, our straight picks. It's time to make money. Let's go.
The UFC is in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia for the first time in promotional history with a card on big ABC. It has had a little bit of a shuffle, but it does still feature the former middleweight champion, Robert Whittaker. And as always, we are here to talk about it from a gambling perspective. Hello, everybody. Brett Okamoto alongside my partner, Ian Parker. We're going to be talking about this main card, which has had a lot of changes to it, quite frankly. But we are going to discuss all of those and how it's impacting the gambling lines. But before we do, let's look back at how we did last week. What did we do on the UFC Fight Night VFX, Mr. Parker?
Best bets, we went 2 and 3. We hit with Tatsuro Taira. I'm still high on him. He looked great. Kwamba Almeida under 2.5. That just Kwamba's got a chin made of absolute granite. He got dropped 6 times. Somehow went bell to bell. Taguero Umbekov, that bet was voided. He did not compete. Armfield, man, just poor IQ on that end. Dropping Brady Heights-hand and going into the guard and grappling. Had he let him stand back up, he would have won. And then we hit with Costa, which was great. The parlay missed. We missed on that first leg. And then the prop of the night also was voided because we had Aliskerov to win by TKO, who's now fighting this week in the main event. And Brett, changes and shifting has been the name of the game in the month of June, but we're here for it, so let's go.
God, it sure has. The changes will make your head spin, but you're doing a good job of staying on top of all of the gambling odds because we're just looking for fights. You're trying to handicap all of these things in real time, so kudos to you. Let's talk about this main card. You can find it again on Big ABC. It starts at 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific. You can also watch it on ESPN Plus. Robert Whittaker, the former middleweight champion, taking on Ikram Aliskerov. Very, very interested to talk about that fight. Tight odds there in that 5-round main event. Sergey Pavlovich is back to take on Alexander Volkov. Kelvin Gastelum, Daniel Rodriguez. That fight is now at middleweight. Shada Madagomedov is back after a year off, and Johnny Walker, Volkan Oezdemir. We're going to talk about all of these and get picks on every single fight as we always do. Let's talk about this. Robert Whittaker taking on Aliskerov. It shows what the odds makers think of Aliskerov. I mean, we know exactly who Robert Whittaker is. We know exactly who he's beat. We know exactly who he's fought very, very, very competitively with. And they are saying that Aliskerov is only plus 130 against this man. What do you make of these opening odds, Ian?
You know what? I think a lot of people are going to hop on Aliskerov because of a couple of reasons. One, we've seen the power he carries. And two, we have seen Robert Whittaker's chin potentially get a little, get a little chinny, a little weaker over his last few fights. However, look, he took a spinning back kick to Paulo Costa that put him on skates. He got rocked by Dricus du Plessis with the jab. And we've seen that jab out of Aliskerov. So I can understand why the odds are the way they are. But Brett, I'm going to be honest with you here. I'm a little thrown off by them. I didn't think they would be this close, even granted of the hype that's there. And with Whittaker coming off a win over Paulo Costa, the main thing I think the odds makers may have forgotten here, it's a 5-round fight. And Aliskerov was training for a 3-round fight against 2 different people that weren't close to Robert Whittaker's style. And Whittaker was training for a 5-round fight, yes, against a beast in Khamzat Chimaev when it comes to grappling. But with Aliskerov, he does have a little bit of that background. He can grapple, and we know he has power here. For me, though, Brett, look, this has got to be a Robert Whittaker win. And I think if he's going to do it, he's got to get out of the first round first. There's a lot of question marks in Aliskerov. Look, I think the guy's talented, but who did he beat? Warley Alves? Great. Phil Hawes? Great. It doesn't mean that he won't be on the up and up in his career, but this is a major step up. And Whittaker is a very smart fighter, high IQ, rarely makes mistakes. And I think he also, having to go into that fight with Costa, he had to get his confidence back. That confidence now is there. Give me Bobby Knuckles to win this fight. And we're going to get those odds better by going Whittaker to win and over 1.5 rounds.
Okay, so you're making the odds even better with taking over 1.5 rounds. I got to be honest, man. This is one of those fights where my radar is going off of something doesn't seem right, dude. It just doesn't seem right. I mean, as you said, yeah. Aliskerov training for a 3-round fight. He now has to go from Las Vegas to Saudi, acclimate to the differences there, and then just the name recognition of Robert Whittaker. You would think that the book would want to put up a line just to put value on Whittaker because of the casual bettor taking a shot on Whittaker because this guy he's never heard of before. So all that said, and he's only minus 155. This one to me just it feels like I say this every now and then. It feels like completely stay away from me. How confident are you in the minus 155? Because you said that the line did surprise you.
Well, you know what? Man, look, you're looking at someone Aliskerov who's a combat champ, so you know he's got grappling, you know he's got the throws behind him in wrestling, and we've seen Whittaker get a little out-grappled before. Duplessis is able to take him down, but Whittaker is pretty good everywhere. Brett, this is one of those fights where I don't know how often you're going to get Whittaker at this number against a guy who's not in the top 5. So for me, I think the value is actually on Robert Whittaker. Had Aliskerov been a plus 185 or a plus 200, it would have been hard not to take a shot on him, but when you've seen a guy who's won by essentially jabs, dropping guys. Like Phil Hawes, we know, has a chin made of mush. So for him to get knock him out, not that crazy. And prior to that knockout, Aliskerov was not winning. I'm going to roll with Whittaker here. I think the 5-round fight is huge for him. If he gets out of the first round, I think that it's all Bobby Knuckles.
I agree. I agree with everything, but it just scares me because I definitely expected the line to be bigger than minus 155. Let's look at this heavyweight co-main event, which has actually stayed together much better than just about everything else on the card. We're going to show you Sergey Pavlovich because he has been the talk of social media with this look at this physique, man. He's been living in the gym just like Ian Parker has in 2024. What do you make of this physique by Sergey? And, we haven't seen him for a little bit. Odds makers minus 240 against a veteran in Volkov, who we know a lot about. He's very, very consistent performances out of Alexander Volkov. What do you make of the line and also Sergey Pavlovich's physique going into this one?
Yeah, I didn't sign a waiver saying they could Photoshop my body on his head. Look, he looks massive. He looks insane. It looks like Brock Lesnar, but with Sergey Pavlovich's head. So whatever he's eating, working out, doing, he looks great. I mean, look, this is a guy that we already know carries the power of God in both hands. And outside of Tom Aspinall, I don't know who beats him in this division. This is also someone with a background where he can grapple. Had to. So I don't think he's going to go in there and take Volkov down by any sense of the means, but it's hard to not take him. This line has gone up repeatedly. Yesterday, he was only minus 210. It's now at minus 240. And Volkov's not a guy, Pavlovich's not a guy that likes to see the second round win or lose, apparently. So for me, I'm going under 1.5 rounds, but for my prop of the night, Pavlovich to win by TKO at only minus 160. Brett, that was minus 145 an hour and a half ago. So the odds keep going up on that. So if you're into that play, jump on it now. And I'm telling you, I sat on the flight home in MSG when he lost next to him. I gave one look to him. He looked at me, and I said, I will never pick against this guy after the Aspinall fight because I would hate to be the next guy to fight him. Volkov's been knocked out before. I don't know how Volkov wins this fight unless he can get it out of the first round. Pavlovich under 1.5 and win by TKO KO. That's the play.
Yeah, the physique has changed. I'm guessing that the fighting style has not. I imagine Sergey Pavlovich is going to come out aggressive as always, looking for an early finish. Let's take a look at this middleweight fight between Kelvin Gastelum and Daniel Rodriguez. This fight was supposed to be a welterweight, but then we got a little bit of a surprise here is that Kelvin Gastelum said he was having a hard time making weight, so it bumps up to middleweight. But Gastelum is still a pretty heavy favorite at minus 245. What do you think?
Was it really a surprise, Kelvin Gastelum not making weight? For me, it wasn't a surprise. It's a surprise that I'm hoping Rodriguez got 30% of that purse. Give me Rodriguez here. For me, this is dog or pass. I don't like Gastelum at middleweight. I don't like that he couldn't make weight for this fight. To me, that means something went wrong somewhere. Rodriguez, I think, is better feet. Let's go D-Rod here at plus 200.
All right, and then staying in middleweight, Sharab Magomedov taking on Antonio Tricoli, who was actually supposed to fight Aliskerov last week. You are going with the Magomedov by TKO to look good in his second UFC bout.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's fighting a guy who doesn't have much experience in the UFC. Not that Shara Bullet really does, but this is a world-class striker. If he can keep this fight on the feet, he can get it done. Look for those odds. Otherwise, minus 600 is way too high to lay the lumber there.
All right, and then a fight I honestly can't believe that we haven't seen yet. It seems like these guys have been around for a very long time, but it's Johnny Walker taking on Volkan Oezdemir, and they got it essentially a pick'em here. They do have it as a pick'em. You like Johnny Walker in this spot?
Yeah, at these odds, looking, Volkan Oezdemir beat Bogdan that last fight by sub, and then but he's not fighting top of the line guys. He's going against someone Walker, bigger athlete. I don't know where Volkan really wins this fight. Walker's got all the skills to be a champ. He's just got to put it together. Good stylistic fight. Odds are good here. Johnny Walker, time to get it right. Let's go.
All the skills to be a champion. I'm a little surprised you said that about Johnny Walker. I mean, he has shown a ton of skills, but
skills, not mental, physical skills. I didn't say he's got a good fight IQ.
And if that is true,
and when it comes to the total package.
And if that is true, yeah, then taking him as a pick'em against Volkan Oezdemir, who I think is kind of entering the twilight of his career even at age 34, probably a little bit of value there on Johnny Walker as a pick'em. Okay, let's take a look at the prelims. They start at 12 Eastern. That is 9 a.m. Pacific. You can find them on ESPN and ESPN Plus. Walk us through your prelim picks.
I just want to clear that up. I don't think Johnny Walker's going to be champion, but he can be very good. This is a good matchup for him. But moving on, Jared Flash Gordon here. A lot of people I'm seeing taking Nasrat Haqparast. I don't get it. He's a good kickboxer. He's got speed. But Gordon, I think striking-wise can hold his own. But the clinch, the ground game, and the cardio, did nobody see Dan Hooker out-grapple Nasrat for 3 rounds? Gordon could do the same. Prop of the night, long-shot prop of the night, Gordon by decision at plus 325. Brett, I love that play. I think it's a sneaky, nice little flyer right there. Next play, Felipe Lima coming on short notice. I like this kid. If you've seen him fight in other organizations, very talented. Minus 110, we're going to take him. Renat Fakhradanov, listen, Dalby's a dog. He will defend. He's got good cardio. We saw Renat in his last fight losing that last round. He's got a lot to make up here. I think he gets it done. That number's too high money line. We're going to parlay him. Kang versus Gafarov, over 2.5 rounds. Magomed Gazasusalov butchered that, but you know who I'm talking about. He'll be in the parlay. And last but not least, give me Long over Lee. He's better, well-rounded, should be able to get this done, and that's the prelim picks for this week.
All right, they're the prelim picks. Let's move right along to the long shot parlay for UFC Saudi Arabia.
3 live dogs, in my opinion, so why not put them together and hope to have a nice week going into 303. D-Rod, Gordon, and Kang, I think all 3 of these can get it done. D-Rod, listen, he's a good fighter. Kelvin Gastelum being this much overweight this early in the week, he's got to be a red flag. Gordon, major upside in grappling and cardio, and Kang's got a good hands. As long as he doesn't stay on his back the whole fight, he can be competitive. Let's get it done.
I like it. That's a good-looking long shot parlay at 20-1. Let's look at the normal now, Parker's parlay for Saturday.
So there's 2 ways you can do this, right? I'm going to go Pavlov here because of how high it is, and I'm still big on him. We're going to go Sharabulin, Renat, and Magomed. Now, the only one that I would say if you want to remove, you'll still get plus odds, is Sharabulin because he will be at a disadvantage if the fight goes to the ground. However, they're pumping this guy for a reason. He's very talented. So those 4, you're getting plus 183.
All right, that takes care of all of our parlays. Now, how about our best bets for this weekend?
We're going a little tighter this week, Brett. You know, when it came to the best bets the last couple weeks, I've gone heavier and I have not had the best results. I want to get a bounce back this week. So give me Robert Whittaker at over 1.5 rounds at minus 120. If you don't want to take the round situation, Whittaker minus 155. I'm comfortable there. But I think you and I both know if Whittaker wins this, it's got to be in deeper waters. Pavlovich Volkov under 1.5. Somebody's going to sleep some way, somehow, and it's going to be under that minute mark. Johnny Walker money line over Volkan Oezdemir. Younger, stronger, faster. Just don't fight stupid, and Johnny Walker should be able to win that fight.
All right. Very, very nice, tight show there. Good advice, as always, from Mr. Parker. You got all your prelim picks. You got your main card picks. You got your parlays. You got your best bets. And you got a great photo of Sergey Pavlovich looking absolutely jacked for his return. So I'm looking forward to this card. Remember, the different start time. It is noon Eastern time on ABC. Enjoy the fights, and then we will be back next week to talk about the revamped UFC 303 card. We'll be there in person in Las Vegas, so tune in for that edition of UFC Best Bets. Enjoy your weekend. Take care.